knows what I do for a career. I would like to think that I am doing my part. In official capacity as a city councilman, again, I think we can approach the sheriff and approach those that we contract with to provide law enforcement and ask, what help do you need? Is there something we can help you with? Like I said before, I believe Fillmore City contracts with the sheriff's office for 20 hours a day. We can bump that up to 24 and expect more. Expect more from our sheriff's office and expect more from the officers. And I think if we put forth that good foot forward, they'll do the same thing. Thank you.
So we've always established the fact that Fillmore does not have its own police department, and we rely strictly on the Millard County Sheriff's Department to provide us coverage based on the contract and intergovernmental agreement. So we understand that. The problem with drugs is a lot of times education and a lack of enforcement. Okay? Repeat offenders. What are we doing about that? Prescription drugs. Utah has the highest prescription drug abuse in the United States. Okay? We don't get reports on that. And then nobody ever mentions domestic violence. Okay? Those are four major things that we need to address. We cannot address them as a city as long as we're contracted out to the county. We can air our concerns. And what I recommend, what Deb Oeppinger recommends, is that we appoint a city council person to do nothing but be the liaison between the city and the county sheriff's department, and not wait for a next council meeting to get a report. We need to know what's going on. We find out things through internet or word of mouth, but we need to make sure that the county is informing us on what they are doing, what their needs are, and what are the things we should be looking at and addressing. Because some of the things in regards to drug abuse, domestic violence, we do have programs. We have a drug program for drug abuse. You know, if you get convicted, you can go into a drug abuse program, which is funded by, I think, the beer tax, the state beer tax. It costs the city almost nothing.
All right, well, thanks for being concise, guys. We have plenty of time left for any questions from the audience. If anyone has one, I will bring the microphone to you even. Okay.
My question is, do you support shopping locally in your personal life, and what steps would you take to assist shopping locally amongst the council?
That's a very good question. That actually is one of my personal things. I do shop locally. I just put a roof on my house. Local employee put it on, purchased the shingles and the parts for my house from Roper Lumber. I checked online, and I'll be honest with you, Roper beat them. I do shop around. There are things in town that you just can't get. It's hard for me to find a pair of shoes in town. So yeah, I do a little internet shopping, but groceries, we buy them here. I try to make that a point because I do feel like that is important. That keeps our money here. As I think about the guy that put my roof on, he's going to spend that money here for the most part. I think that's important because that dollar stays in town. I know with our projects, the splash pad out here, we didn't have a lot of say in who did what, but I do know the concrete came from a local contractor. So we are using as much as we can when we can. So that's about all I have on that.
Rule of thumb on the city council is to bid locally. We do bid as local as we can. There is things that we can't get locally that we can't afford to pass on to the citizens if it's 3 times as much as somewhere else that we can get in better quality. That does happen, but as a rule of thumb, we do try to buy from the city. And it is a good thing. It keeps us going. Chamber of Commerce there is things that we would need the Chamber of Commerce to come up with, such as a good suit store, but we don't have that ability. We do have shoes now. Yeah. But there is things you can't buy in Fillmore, but yes, I agree with buying in Fillmore if you can.
Do you know the city's current policy on, this percentage, how much more the price of the here versus elsewhere, and what they're willing to spend over?
Well, they will spend over. As a rule of thumb, they would go over the amount of the bid if it was within reason. I don't know. Is there a percentage, Mayor, that you would stop at? No. I think common sense is where we would stop.
I dump a lot of money into Fillmore. I'm on a project right now over to Delta, and we just spent $30,000 with ropers on. And I've got another one coming up right shortly where we'll be doing the same thing. I could easily be bringing that steel in from St. George or Provo, but I like to do everything I can to dump that money into Fillmore because I know it's a pretty good chance it's going to turn around and come back to me. I try to support Dennis down there. You can buy pants, you can buy shoes. A lot of times he don't have shoes that big. But anyway, do everything we can in Fillmore. I really do. I love this little town, and I think all these businesses need all the support we can get. And I really think that the city has got to support every business. We've got to think about the decisions we make as we spend, the city spends. Where could we get that from? You know, who does this? Because there is some really, really talented people in Fillmore that have some really good services to provide. So.
And I absolutely do agree in spending money locally. Like the other candidates have said, the money we spend here, if we go up to Dwayne's and buy a gallon of milk, that goes through somebody's pocket and pays cashiers who go and spend it somewhere else. And I think it constantly perpetuates. And if we can keep it here locally, it's better for everyone. And like everybody else has said, it is hard when you can't buy. I mean, you can buy Carhartts and Wranglers and a few pair of shoes down at Dennis's, but anything else, you have to go out of town. And I think that's a real problem because when people go out of town and buy their shoes or their pants or other things, they're going to buy their gallons of milk and their bread and their lumber or their tires or haircuts. But if we can provide the services here, I believe people will pay for the services here. Thank you.
I'm going to have to pass on this question because I wasn't aware it was going to happen, and so Debbie and I didn't get to talk about it. Eric?
Yeah, I forgot to mention we're excusing Don from answering the questions he wasn't able to prepare for. Are there any other questions from the audience?
The thing I would like, we're asking them what we want them to do. What can we do to improve this community? I have been here a long time, and we have a lot that we can do to fix up. We need another Stella Day to get Fillmore to be the best little city that we can. And so this is my thinking. Why can't we, as individuals, improve a lot of our places here in Fillmore? Some of them are real trashy. No pride. The council has got to create some pride in Fillmore because we're digressing with our homes and our things to help attract people. And so, as I say, we need another Stella Day.
Thank you. Well, do any of you want to speak on that? How we can get citizens more active and improve the city, from the outside of the city council? Tough question.
Tough question. If we own property here, I think we need to take care of it. When I first came here, I know the city was spraying weeds in front of our houses, taking care of the right-of-way, and there became so much pushback on that because things were getting sprayed that weren't intended to be sprayed, and so the drift came into people's yards, and that program stopped. We need to step out and take care of the right-of-way in front of our houses. Not that this is me as a citizen, not me as a city councilman. Maybe it is me as a city councilman also, but I think Phil makes a very good point. We need to step out and take care of our property as much as we can. I know there's people that just don't and won't, and personal property is personal property. You do own what you own. When that intrudes out into our right-of-way, then we have a problem. When it is a known eyesore and it becomes a public health issue, we have a problem. And we are taking care of that by posting notices on these people's property, and a lot of times they will take care of it. So that's all I have.
The only thing I could see that the citizens could help on is bring it to the city, address the issue, see what